This is your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Wednesday, February 26. Workers at CO Williams Construction will get their long-awaited pay hike. Today, Labour Minister Colin Jordan, General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Senator Tony Moore and her team, along with management, brokered a deal after lengthy talks. Over the last 2 days, workers dug tools demanding better pay. Minister Jordan disclosed the highlights of the deal.
The details of that agreement are that in the first year of the agreement, so from April 2019 to March 2020, that period will see a 2% lump sum payment being made to the workers. That 2% lump sum payment will be made in 2 tranches because we agreed that a company in making a large payment has to take its cash flow into consideration. And so half of that payment will be made at the end of March 2020, and the other half will be made at the end of April of 2020. So the lump sum payment has been split into 2 to be paid over those 2 months. There is also the agreement that the floor for that payment will be $500.
A legend. That's how members of the entertainment fraternity are describing respected Calypsonian writer and musician William Smokey Burke. 69-year-old Burke, a popular face on the entertainment scene since the late 60s, died today. Burke penned favorites including Duck, Head Nice, Fet Nice, Persona Non Grata, Are We Almost There, and The Sauce. Leading off tributes was Culture Minister John King. He said Burke had an amazing talent, was humorous, outspoken, and passionate about the arts. Close friend, the Most Honorable Anthony Gabby Carter, described Burke as one of the greatest artists in Barbados.
Not many of us can cover the amount of genres of music that he did. He sang religious songs, he sang food, he sang calypso, he sang folk, he sang pop and rock, and reggae. And the thing about it is that Smokey wrote in all of those genres. He was that good. And it's a pity it took so long for some of us to recognize his greatness.
Fellow entertainer Colin Spencer also described his former mate as a legend.
He contributed to and was very much a part of the glory days of Barbados entertainment when there were several live bands around. He's one of the few vocalists to have recorded songs in spooge, calypso, folk, R&B, and I think he has a couple of reggae songs as well. But his music speaks volumes as it relates to the kind of artist he was.
Government's decision to abolish the common entrance examination got approval from educator Dr. Cheryl Weeks, the president of the Flodden Abingdon Alumni Association, today. Weeks was handing over a cash donation to the CVQ program of the Bridgetown Seventh-day Adventist School. She told reporters it's a move that could lead to the creation of what she called a mixed ability school, and it has the potential to yield positive outcomes.
This school has a record of excellent performance. Many of the children from the school end up going to the sixth form schools because we don't have a sixth form school. And so it is my belief that this model of mixed ability schools has worked and it will continue to work. And I'm saying that perhaps it is something that can be looked at in terms of our education system going forward, where the stronger students are able to help the weaker students. So you may not be good academically, but you're a great musician. And this school has a legacy for excellent musicians. So when you come into the choir or the band or something else and you're working with students who are really performing, it encourages you to want to perform and do a little more. So we believe that the atmosphere that is set is one that encourages and pulls out of the children what they did not even know that they had.
She, however, stressed that authorities must carefully examine a replacement for the 11+ that will ensure that children are fairly allocated to secondary schools.
I think it's something that needs to be explored, something that needs to be looked at in its totality. I wouldn't say that abandoning it is bad, but what I would say is that whatever we go into must be a system that allows for the fair distribution of students so that everyone can have the opportunity to achieve as those of us who would have gone through the system have achieved.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Root Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
To regional happenings, authorities in Trinidad and Tobago have been looking on at recent moves by the Barbados government to improve the delivery of justice. And now National Security Minister and the Commissioner of Police are calling for changes to the criminal justice system in Port of Spain. Nicholas Lutchman Singh of TV6 News has the story.
Security experts from international jurisdictions say the TTPS is doing all they possibly can. That's according to the Commissioner of Police.
We speak a lot about homicides. This Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we have experts from NYPD, from LA, from Europe, and they have continued to state that we are doing all that we possibly can. There's nothing more that the protective services could do. What we have an issue with is when it is that the police service, we have arrested 1,437 persons, and they actually got, they were able with illegal firearms, and they were able to get back out. And these persons, it was recurring. These individuals continue to be arrested and be released.
The National Security Minister and the Police Commissioner are accusing influencers such as politicians of promoting a crime agenda.
Those politicians, those activists, those individuals who seem to have an agenda to sympathize with criminal elements, we could do up until the arrest. After the arrest and the charge, if people see it fit in the criminal justice system to send them back out onto the street to finish their job, that is not our fault. We are doing what we can.
However, the National Security Minister said his ministry is piloting strategies to bring change to the justice system.
Further afield, the number of new coronavirus infections inside China, the source of the outbreak, was for the first time overtaken by fresh cases elsewhere today. We get the details from Reuters Television.
More coronavirus cases are now being reported outside China than inside, according to the World Health Organization. And two countries in particular, Italy and Iran, are seeing more cases from their own outbreaks spread to neighbours. Italy, the epicenter of the virus in Europe, now says it has at least 350 cases. At least 12 have died there. Its so-called red zones, quarantined towns in the north, remained on lockdown on Wednesday, with troops and police checking vehicles. Fear spreading across the country, as many worshippers wore masks to watch Pope Francis express his support for coronavirus sufferers and health workers. European countries have reported new infections linked to the Italian outbreak. In Spain, guests will be holed up in a Canary Islands hotel for 2 weeks, after an Italian doctor staying there was diagnosed. Though at least they're now allowed to use the pool. And Greece confirmed its first case on Wednesday, while France reported its second death from the virus. The United States is warning of an inevitable global pandemic and urging its citizens to prepare. But the World Health Organization disagrees, saying using the term could amplify fear and stigma, lead to paralysis, and suggests that the virus can no longer be contained, which it says isn't true.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.